Some of these Anaheim youngsters have been taking television teaching for 2 or 3 years each.
I've never had an experience with TV at school before.
We want awesome, we want fun, we want everything underneath the sun. With my friends at Anaheim Elementary. Anything is possible, you just wait and see. Shine on the back of the shine. We're so excited, let's go explore inside the outdoors, alright.
Today's episode is brought to you by Exploration.
Hey everybody, this is Uribe with Inside the Outdoors, and we are here at Shipley Nature Center in Huntington Beach. And today, we're going to learn about animals. Hey Mark, what type of animals can we find out here at Shipley Nature Center?
Well, Uribe, because Shipley Nature Center is a natural preserve, it's perfect habitat for so many animals like mammals, reptiles, birds, amphibians, and more. So let's go explore and see what animals we can find. Hey Uribe, so, we're outside a lot. What are some of your favorite living things in Orange County?
Living things?
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, man, in Orange County, there's so many things. The biodiversity we have in Orange County, I mean, we have mountains and canyons and tide pools. There's coast live oak trees, so you have hawks, so many different species of reptiles. I mean, really, it depends on where I am. That's going to tell you what kind of animals I like. What I do really like, I like snakes. And one of my favorite species that I'm always kind of looking for are king snakes.
Kind of like this one?
What? What? Where'd you get that?
This is Sam.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam. Because I know, yeah, you wouldn't pick up a wild snake.
No, this is our friend Sam. But you were talking about king snakes?
I love king snakes. King snakes are one of the coolest snakes we have in California.
Now, this one's not just California. This is actually Orange County, right?
I found them in Orange County. I found them actually on the coast and the beaches. I found them up in the canyons and mountains. Some of our local parks that have wilderness areas.
Because I think I found one at Crystal Cove once.
So you're at the beach, you're at the coast.
Yeah.
I found some in Silverado Canyon. I found some, by the city of Orange. So
now, Uribe, I have a question. Why are they called king snakes?
So here's the thing. This is actually something that a lot of people don't realize. So king snakes are called king snakes because they can eat other snakes.
Wait,
now,
like smaller snakes?
Other snakes their size. So not only do they eat things like rodents, typical of many snake species, but they can eat other snakes. Now, here's what's even cooler, Mark. They can actually eat rattlesnakes.
Wait.
So this
like
type
the
of
venomous rattlesnakes
like
with
the
the
venomous
fangs and the rattle and the
Yes, absolutely. So
Really?
this snake itself, and I know you wouldn't be holding it, one, if it was wild, two, if it's venomous. So it's not a wild snake, it's not a venomous snake, it's a constrictor. But they can actually eat the venomous rattlesnakes. What's really interesting is that they're immune, okay, which means it doesn't affect them. The venom of a rattlesnake, it actually won't kill them.
So they could get bit by the rattlesnake.
Yes, yeah. And what's really cool is obviously you can see by the pattern that they kind of stand out because of these patterns. Now, typically, you might see that they're striped. So they might be more of a black and almost white color stripes. This one's a little
pretty
bit more
light, right?
This one's pretty light, pretty spotty. But if you look at the surroundings, it still has that great adaptation of camouflage, depending on the light and the shadows that can kind of peek through.
Yeah, I can see that.
So definitely a snake that we want around because they can eat rodents. They can eat things that get into our homes.
And rattlesnakes.
And they can control the population of rattlesnakes.
That's great.
So that's super cool that I was just mentioning how I love snakes, and this is actually one of my favorite species, and here you go popping out of nowhere with our friend Deputy Sam over here. Okay, and you can see that tongue going in and out, so you know that that's how they smell. So that tongue is letting them know what is around. It's pretty much they're tasting the air.
That's so crazy.
And it has that forked tongue, so it knows which direction those molecules that they're picking up it's going to be, whether it's food, whether it's a predator or a prey. You can see how active Deputy Sam is right now.
One of my favorite places here is over by Blackbird Pond.
Oh, yes. Which, what's interesting? I've seen snakes in water, and all snakes can swim.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are some other animals that might hang out by the water?
We should go find out.
Okay. Man, this is some great habitat here at Blackbird Pond.
This is a good spot, Mark.
Yeah, you can hear a bunch of birds, you can see a bunch of plants, but what are some animals that would live here next to the water? I wonder. I'm trying to look for some. Is that an alligator?
I don't think there's
Oh, it's a
alligators.
log. Oh,
I
yeah.
know there's different species of reptiles that might be around
Oh,
here.
like turtles.
Maybe
There's a
some
lot of
amphibians.
turtles. Oh, yeah, so turtles, frogs, bullfrogs. I think there's even some toads that live around.
Like this one?
Hey, yeah, hi, buddy. So this is a western toad, right, Uribe?
This is our buddy, Mr. Jumpy Jump here, who is native to Orange County, and you are correct, sir. He is a western toad.
And one of the ways you can tell he's a western toad is this yellow line that goes down his back.
So, Mark, can I ask you a question, though? So I know that there's a lot of confusion out there between frogs and toads.
Yeah.
Can you clear that up for us? What is the difference?
Well, the way I explain it is that toads are a little bit more bumpy. That's not always true. There's some frogs that are pretty bumpy, but it's a lot of the legs. Toads' back legs are a lot smaller and they don't swim in the water. Toads live on the land.
Okay.
So we can find toads in deserts where there's kind
Really?
of some sort of water source, like a spring or even a puddle, right?
Okay.
But here we'd find them next to a pond. A lot of times, if you find them by your house, it's over by the hose, because the hose will drip and it will create
Because
this
there's water
constant
nearby.
puddle, and so they'll hang out there. So I have some family in Arizona where I've seen some there under the hose. I've even found some over on a horse property in Orange County, next to the hose.
So they have to be near water.
Yeah, so their skin, they absorb water through their skin, and some amphibians can even breathe through their skin.
Oh,
So their
cool.
skin has to stay moist, and so they need to be by water.
What? That's pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool one.
Wow.
Yeah,
So, but they are found in Orange County.
yeah, totally found in Orange County, and yeah, it's just getting out, keeping your eyes open and looking. Sometimes you can find some really interesting animals.
Wow.
You know what I love about Orange County?
What do you love about it?
Is all the flowers and all the sage. Have you ever noticed that?
Tons of sage.
Yeah, tons of sage and tons of really cool flowers. There's actually a spot that I want to take you and show you some of the sages and some of the flowers.
Let's go see it.
All right, you ready to go, Mr. Jumpy Jump?
Let's go, Jumpy
He
Jump.
says so.
All right.
Dude, you read, this is a great find. This is a home of a couple animals that live here at Shipley Nature Center. Now, this is just the opening. These tunnels will go and branch, and there will be other openings that pop up all over the place here, because the animals that live in here, they find protection here, but they also find food. Any thoughts on what animals might live in these holes?
Well, so I don't think we would see animals stuck in the entrance. So
Yeah.
it couldn't be too big.
Yeah.
So maybe not a raccoon, maybe some sort of rodent, a mouse, a rat.
Yeah, a rat's a pretty good guess. So right here, this is kind of a gopher or a ground squirrel hole. And they make these holes and they pop out of all these different places. But there's other animals that will use these holes as well. To get out of the hot sun or to look for food, animals that slither might slide in here.
Like this one.
Yeah, this is what kind of snake is this?
So this is our friend Beverly.
Beverly.
You didn't
Hey,
recognize Beverly? So Beverly is a Pacific gopher snake. And gopher snakes are actually the most common snake that we have in California.
Oh.
So what's interesting is, since you mentioned that could be something that a gopher lives in, or ground squirrels, gopher snakes can eat gophers. That's why they're named that. But they can eat other rodents as well. And if you look at them, most people don't realize they don't have anything to dig with. They don't have any claws. They don't have any paws. So for them, it's really taking the habitat or home of something else, something that's already created. And how cool for them that they can go in there. Maybe there's some food in there, and it also protects them from predators.
It's kind of
that
like
can
an
eat them.
Airbnb.
It's the snake Airbnb, the hotel
All
for the
right.
snakes. So, and then they can slither through the tunnel system. They can come out and hunt for other food sources. They have great camouflage. So I've seen some gopher snakes that are bigger than this as well, depending
yeah.
on how much food they get. You can see the camouflage. Even though you might think that yellow stands out, depending on that sunlight, they can really blend in well to their surroundings, which is super, super cool. And you see that tongue going in and out, Mark?
Yeah.
He's smelling you, or she's smelling you.
Really?
Yeah. So they're tasting the air. They taste the molecules in the air. So hopefully you showered today, my friend, because she can taste those molecules that you're emitting.
Well, that's interesting.
Pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
So I think our friend Beverly really wants to go back to the container that we keep her in. Should we go look for other things?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
I thought Mark and Yarib would be here by now. I think we're going to see some animals today. I wonder where the guys are.
Dr. Downey.
My goodness.
How are you doing
Oh, my
today?
goodness.
Look at that.
Oh,
And
hey.
we have a friend.
How are you, friend?
This is Cinnabon the rabbit.
Hi, Cinnabon.
Now, you were telling us a little earlier that you had rabbits as a kid?
Yes, I did. Had a rabbit named Paris.
Paris.
Yes.
How did that rabbit look?
She had one floppy ear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and pink on the inside, and
yeah.
she was a white rabbit.
Oh, okay. Did she have red eyes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Hi, Cinnabon.
Rabbits are great. They're
They
so
are.
fluffy and cute and cuddly.
How old is Cinnabon?
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe 3? Yeah, about 3 years old. And
So
what
soft.
people don't notice is how big their back feet are.
Yes.
And how strong their legs are.
Oh my goodness, look
It's
at
so
that
important.
nail.
Now, rabbits like this don't live naturally in Orange County. We have
Okay.
our cottontail rabbits
Yes.
that are kind of this color all the way through with a little bit of red and, obviously the cottontail. They're probably a little smaller than she is.
All right.
But in the wild, what do you think are some things that she would need to use her big, strong legs to get away from?
There's so many predators for
Yeah.
rabbits, so I'm sure leaping and helping her to run fast. Also, probably digging
Oh, yeah.
when necessary.
Yeah, they burrow.
Okay,
quite a
and
bit.
maybe to help her or him get food.
Yeah, for sure. But what about those predators? What predators do you think she would have naturally in Orange County?
In Orange County, it could be a number of different predators. I'm sure maybe, I don't know, a bobcat.
Totally, a bobcat.
Yes.
Even something from up above, like
Right.
a hawk or
A
coyote.
hawk, a coyote.
Yeah.
Maybe even, what, a
something
very
like
large.
This, Dr. Downing?
Oh,
Could it be something like this?
it could be something like that.
It could be something like this, couldn't it?
Oh my
All
goodness.
right, so now, Dr. Downing, this is actually one of my favorite reptiles that is
Okay.
native to California
All
and Orange
right.
County. This is a California king snake.
Okay.
This is a king snake. Now, first thing, of course, I want to mention is that this is not a wild snake. This is a snake that we work with. It's a rescued snake.
Okay.
And it is not venomous.
All right.
That's the thing. That first thing,
Okay.
you want to take that deep breath.
Thank you.
Ooh, a
All right.
non-venomous
Okay.
snake, which means if it's not venomous,
Yes.
in order to eat its food, it's going to wrap around and constrict. So we
Right.
know it's a constrictor. Now,
Okay.
one of the most interesting facts about California king snakes
Yes.
is the reason why they're named king snakes.
Okay.
Now, what would be your guess? Why would they be called king snakes? Of all the snakes we have in California, Orange County, the United States, why are they named king snakes? What would be your guess?
That in the hierarchy of snakes, they are sort of a dominant variety.
I completely agree with you. Now, what's interesting about this type of snake is that they can actually eat other snakes.
Okay.
So they eat other snakes, and including rattlesnakes. So they are actually immune to the venom of rattlesnakes if they get bit.
Okay.
So if you see this snake around and you live in an area where there might be rattlesnakes,
Yes.
this is a friend of ours.
Okay.
Because not only are they eating rodents that might be pests in our neighborhoods and our homes,
Right.
but they're also eating venomous
Okay.
rattlesnakes.
And the colors are distinctive, so all king snakes look like this.
So
one?
the king snakes could have a lighter brown color to them. The white might be a little bit more of a yellow color. There might be some spotting. But for the most part, if you see that striped snake out in the
Yes.
wild in Orange County,
Okay.
you know you have come across a king snake.
All right.
Not venomous,
Yes.
can eat other venomous snakes.
Right.
So it controls pests that we might have around our area. Now,
How large do they grow?
I've seen some that are pretty long. I've seen some that are 5 feet long. So just depending on the food source that is around and how
Yes.
healthy their diet is, They can get pretty long and get pretty thick as far as their size.
Okay.
Now, I know you're curious. Would you like to feel the scales? Now, again, we are as safe as possible when we handle our
Right.
animals. His head is all the way by me. This is just the back half of his body, which is
Okay.
the tail. So you are more than welcome to
All
feel
right.
the snake.
And let me say this.
Please tell me.
Growing up,
Yes.
snakes weren't necessarily my favorites,
Completely understand. Completely
but
understand.
this is just a great opportunity, and
Absolutely.
I love
absolutely.
all the ooh.
Now tell everyone what you're
Oh.
feeling.
Um,
What does it feel like? If you had to
feels-
describe that.
You can feel the scales,
Absolutely.
but at the same time, you can feel its skeleton under there.
Right, right,
So it's firm, and it's cool.
right. You feel a lot of movement in its
I
body,
do
right?
feel movement, and every time I touch it, it reacts.
There's a lot of muscle in that body
Yes.
because they're constrictors.
Uh-huh.
A lot of muscle throughout their body. They still have a backbone and ribs and organs
Right.
in order to survive. But again, to constrict animals, just like those big pythons you might see in the
Mm-hmm.
rainforest, this is a native constrictor that we have right in our own backyards
Right.
in Orange County.
And we could almost call it king friend snake, right? Because
King
it
friend
helps
snake.
keep us safe.
Absolutely. And even rattlesnakes, they all have a place in
Yes,
Orange County.
yes.
They control the food web. They're a part of it. So they're eating something that is really important to have in our ecosystems.
All right. And they're born with that immunity.
They're born with that immunity. It's
Okay.
fascinating, isn't it?
It
So
is.
fantastic snake. Really
Right, it
appreciate
is.
you doing
about
that.
rainforest?
Oh,
So you were talking
Whoa.
about length and thickness of snakes. This is our buddy Santos.
Oh, Santos
he's
is a big snake. Yes.
He's a Honduran milk snake.
Okay.
So he's from the rainforest, but he has similar banding
Yes.
as our king snake, but red and black, not white and black.
Right.
Do you want to go ahead and pet this one?
Yes. Are they all this color?
Yeah, so they're all going to be this color. You know, of course, the black could be more of a brown, and the red could be a little lighter red, maybe a little bit more orange.
Right.
So there's variation in the value of the colors,
Okay.
but for the most part, they're going to be black and red.
Now, if they consume something,
Mm-hmm.
I know with snakes, they digest it slowly, right?
Very slowly. Yeah, so when they first eat, you'll see a little bit of a bulge.
Yes.
And then as it moves down, the bulge disappears, but it still takes quite a while for them to fully digest it.
Ah, he's really large.
He is. I think he's as long as this table.
Yes.
And so, and then his scoots.
And I notice he's very curious.
He is super curious. So he is smelling with his tongue.
Okay.
It's a great way for them to sense what's going on in the world around them. And yeah, he is constantly on the lookout. He's one of our friends that is some of the most very curious.
Now, does his color, why this color? Is because of
So
his natural environment he would fit in?
He would not blend in at all.
No?
Yeah, so a lot like our king snake,
Mhm.
there's a little bit of camouflage with this, but when you're red,
Yes.
you're not going to blend in anymore. So
Right.
what he's doing is he has warning colors.
Oh, okay.
And he's warning, saying, ooh, I'm a dangerous snake. But he's not. He's pretending to be.
Okay.
So he's faking it. But a snake that does have warning colors
Right.
is our coral snake that lives in Northern California.
Yes.
That's red, yellow, and black.
Mm-hmm.
And that one actually does have venom and is a dangerous snake.
Right.
But a lot of the constrictors, the king snakes and the milk snakes, pretend to have the warning colors.
Okay.
They have the warning colors because they're pretending to be venomous
Right.
as a safety mechanism.
Now, what kind of animals would he
Oh man,
eat and hunt?
anything that he could do. So with snakes, kind of the rule is 3 times the size of their head.
Oh,
So for us, so you have 1, 2, 3. Think of those
Mhm.
4th of July watermelons, right?
right.
Imagine swallowing one of those whole and breathing at the same time. That's what snakes can do.
Oh my goodness.
So his jaw is very flexible.
Okay.
And it has a lot of points that are extra flexible. He can open it up really wide. And you're like, wait, how does it fit in there?
Right.
I don't even know. But they do. So they can eat snakes, they can eat rodents, they can eat lizards, birds, eggs, pretty much anything that they're going to want to go for, they're
Okay.
doing. So
How large can one of these grow?
He's a pretty good size.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
probably about this big. But once again, he's not from here. He's from South America.
Right.
So there are different animals that are part of Orange County
Yes.
that are native, but then we also have native Southern California animals.
Okay.
So, Dr. Dowding, now I know we've been coming at you with all these different animals that
Yes.
maybe, there takes a little bit of time to get used to, right?
Right.
So I wanted to bring you something that it not only is a native to California,
Okay.
it's native to our deserts in California.
All right.
It's actually our state reptile.
Ah.
And so not many people realize that we do have a state reptile.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it is endangered.
Right.
So would you like to close your eyes and see what it is?
Yes.
All right.
I
so,
think I do.
All right. 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
So
okay.
here we have our friend Sunshine. So I wanted
All
to kind of
right.
bring something a little bit more relaxing, a little bit easier to kind of look at.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So, and Sunshine is a California desert tortoise. Desert tortoise. Now, when you're doing that, she can actually feel that.
Oh.
So their shell is actually connected to their backbone, which
Okay.
has nerve endings that go into it. So think of it like a big scale that's
Right.
going around their body, which is really, really fascinating.
And there's so many stories where they show tortoise and turtles moving very slowly, but he's actually moving pretty quickly.
They move pretty quickly. And
That's
one
right.
thing that I want you to notice is also at the end of their legs. What do you see at the end of their legs here on all sides?
Nails.
Nails. So a lot of times people have questions on the differences between turtles
Yes.
and tortoises.
Right.
So turtles need to be in or near water,
Okay.
and tortoises are on land.
All right.
So they're out in the desert in the Mojave, can get up to 140 degrees.
Okay.
So these are really, really useful tools because they burrow underground, where it's a
Ah.
lot cooler underground.
Right.
And as they're burrowing, they might see the roots of certain plants that they
Okay.
eat, and that's the water source that they're going to get out in the desert.
All right.
So unfortunately, they are endangered species. Their
Yes.
population has actually decreased over time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that we realize why they're important. They're native, and they're also our state reptile. Now, Sunshine is 2 years old. How old do
Oh.
you think, in a full, healthy life of a tortoise, how old do you think they could get to be?
I think I've heard close to 100 years old.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
100 years. So they can live
Yes.
anywhere from 60 to 100 years. So I'm currently fostering Sunshine because I know it's a long commitment
Yes.
that eventually will go down to other family
Right.
members. But as long as they're healthy, this is a great animal to know what a healthy desert ecosystem might look like.
Now, when you touch them,
Yes.
you should always touch the shell and not their...
Always the shell. Now, you can definitely touch the legs if you'd
Okay.
like to kind of see these scales on the
Okay.
front because they stick
Ooh,
their
I
head
can
in and they
see
kind of
them,
put those arms
yes.
around. It's extra armor as opposed to the back legs.
Right.
But something you always want to realize with turtles and tortoises,
Yes.
their mouths, they're actually beaks. So you always want to be careful, just like if you're petting a parrot,
Right.
a big macaw with those strong beaks because they're getting the roots of plants, cactus pads. It can have a pretty painful bite if they get a hold of your finger.
I can imagine.
You can imagine,
Okay.
right? Just like different parrots. So
That's
you can
right.
see. So again, really fascinating animals.
Very
So she's
fascinating.
only 2 years old. She's a rescue tortoise that we have. And just a great way to kind of show what our state reptile, native animals that we have.
Well, and as you can see, she is moving quickly.
She is on the move.
Very-
So
she
people
is.
think that they can't get away. You turn your back and they're gone.
I can believe that.
Yeah. So really fascinating animals.
Well, thank you. After the snakes, I appreciate
This is a good one, right? It's a good one to
Yes.
have. I thought you might enjoy
Right.
Sunshine, just kind of crawling around and just learning more about our native tortoises.
Nice to meet you, Sunshine.
There you go. Thank you, Dr. Dowd.
Thank you.
This is one of my favorites.
Uh-oh.
Now, you don't get to pet this one
Okay.
because this one's going to touch you.
Oh, all right.
So, if you want to put one finger out, our next friend's going to shake your finger and say, "How do you do?"
Okay.
You ready?
This I want to see.
Can you tell us what you felt just there?
Felt like goo.
Yeah.
And sticky.
Very sticky.
Yes.
This is Mr. Sticky.
Yeah, I can believe that.
And he's a white tree frog, also known as a dumpy tree frog.
Okay.
And they have these little big round fingertips that are extra
Ooh.
sticky. So they climb on leaves, they hold on to leaves that are
Yes.
pretty smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of their structures and functions that help them hold on and survive where they grow up.
Right.
And if you want to go ahead and pet, you can pet. How does the skin feel?
The skin feels sticky in
Sticky,
some ways,
yeah.
but it's very elastic.
Yeah. It's kind of
It has
thin,
a
too.
feel, yes, like it's really able to move around, as you can see.
Yeah. It's like they have extra skin, kind of like a bulldog.
Yeah.
Kind of wrinkly. And then one of the cutest faces of all the animals that we have. Do y'all see how cute this is? So
Mr. Sticky.
Mr. Sticky, and he's a frog. And one of the reasons we know he's a frog, one of the ways you can tell, is how long those back legs are.
Oh,
there
well,
we go.
and that's another reason we know it's a frog, right?
They like to hop.
That's right.
So his back legs are really, really long.
Oh, that's amazing.
And he likes to hop.
Yes.
And the fact that he can climb. That helps a lot too. Where a cousin of the frog, the toad, looks quite a bit different.
Right.
So now, Dr. Downing, I know you like to learn about native animals to Orange County. So here's an example of a different amphibian.
Yes.
So you make the white tree frog there.
Right.
This is a western toad.
Oh, okay.
Native to Orange County.
Oh.
So now, what do you notice the first thing when you looked at the frog versus a toad? What's the first thing that you might notice?
The difference in color.
Color. Yep.
And the size. The toad seems thicker.
Okay. Okay.
And I would think the colors, the toad would be able to blend in more in like a desert or wooded area.
Absolutely.
Versus the frog.
Absolutely. So that camouflage is amazing.
Yes.
But do you notice anything that kind of stands out when you look at the color on its back? Something that really stands out?
Yeah, it has little raised areas.
Definitely the bumps.
The
so
bumps.
Smooth frog and bumpy toad. So that's a great way to kind of know the difference between the two.
That makes sense.
So the bumpy toads, actually, when animals are trying to eat it, they can actually
Yes.
have something secrete. And again, it makes them taste really bad.
Right.
So nothing wants to eat them. And do you notice that white stripe right down its
Yes.
back? So that's something that's distinctive to the western toad.
Right.
So if you're ever hiking in Orange County around creeks where there might be some water, muddy areas, and you see that stripe going down the back, all
Yes.
these bumps here, then you know that you have come across our native western toads.
Now, we always hear the term toadstool. How does a toadstool relate to a toad?
So I think it's just the color variation in it, the
Yes.
size of it as well, but really doesn't have anything to do as far
Okay.
as with the western toad. That's a great question.
All right.
Great question. So go ahead and feel right down that line. That's a great way to kind of know where I should go
Oh.
down.
You can really feel his skeleton under there.
You can feel that backbone,
Right.
can't you?
And as you said, his skin is much different than the frogs. It's not as sticky.
Not as sticky, absolutely.
Right. And the bumps really stand out.
Perfect. That's
Yes.
fantastic. I love those words that you're using to describe, because I know a lot of kids are
Yes.
wondering, what does it feel like, Dr. Downing? What does it
Yes.
feel like? So great way to describe it. So I think that
Right.
we're going to end off with our friend here, because this is
Okay.
a great way to know what's in Orange County.
Right.
So Dr. Downing has been so nice to join us today and meet all our animal friends. Did you have a favorite, by the way?
I'm going to say the snake, the
Nice.
king snake.
Nice.
King snake.
I think the king snake. And, you know, like I said, king friend snake.
King Frank snake. I like that.
And it was just great to take this opportunity to get to know these different animals, and just appreciate all that you guys do.
Perfect.
And boys and girls, I know you can't wait for your chance to touch these great animals. It's fun.
We're looking
Yes.
forward to it. So thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.